So for as long as I can remember, I have hated getting my picture taken. I either look as black as the night sky or so greasy it looks like I ate chicken morning, noon, and night. That is until I got my pictures taken from Emily Lambert. She's a classically trained actress who came here to New York after landing a huge television role. But unfortunately, that television role was canceled as soon as she got here. So Emily had a decision to make, and she decided to forgo her acting career and become a photographer. Now she's the first stop for every actor looking for that Oscar gold. I'm here at her studio here in Brooklyn, and we're going to talk about her days as a budding thespian and how she stepped behind the camera to become a photographer, a role she said she was born to play. And something tells me that phrase, "what am I doing with my life?" has something to do with it. Let's find out. So you started as an actress.
Yeah, I started acting when I was 5. Yeah, about 5 years old. First thing I ever did was my mother enrolled me, or my father, I don't remember, obviously, in our hometown college had a summer theater program. Right. You know, my first professional work started happening when I was about 15. I started doing film and TV, got my first agent then. I mean, I was very passionate about it. I was very, very into acting. I every summer traveled away from school in order to study it at a different state, where I studied at a large opera house. And at that opera house we did, I mean, everything from musical theater to some dance and movement to stage combat and improvisation, and it was my life. It was everything to me.
And then when you were 16, you went to Disney World, correct?
Yeah. I auditioned for Mickey Mouse, and then I'm not supposed to say that though. He's supposed to be. I was Mickey Mouse's best friend, and Minnie Mouse's best friend. And I called my dad, and he said, "Well, have you got a job?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to be the big cheese."
You were 16.
Yeah.
You were 16 and you drove from Texas to Florida.
Yeah.
Where did you stay?
Well, I stayed in a hostel. So I couldn't find a place to stay. I was 16 and you just have to do it. You just have to do it.
From the time you graduated to like landing a gig, was it super tough, or did it just naturally progress into roles?
Great question. Yeah. So when I was attending school, we were taught, I mean, obviously I went to a school in England, and so being an American over there, I was very much the minority. I think there was, counting myself.
I think I know something about being a minority.
Yeah. No. So we had 5 of us, counting myself, Americans there, and everybody else was from the EU. So we were taught you can't do the same things that other people can do. You will always be limited by your American dialect if you choose to work in the UK. And a role came up on this website that was for somebody who they wanted to play late teens, 17 to 19, with a kind of alternative look, which I had, and pale skin, and could do American accents, in particular a New York accent, which I could do. And I said, yeah, I'm going to submit myself for this project. And it was a film that was directed by a guy called Hideo Nakata. He's the guy who directed the original Ring, and it was being cast by Nina Gold, who is the casting director for Game of Thrones, Chronicles of Narnia, Jane Eyre, a bunch of other stuff. Wow. So I submitted myself for that, and how many of those people can there be? So I got the part. So that was my first experience in a professional acting environment during my first film. And after that, graduation time came, and so I had an opportunity through my school to do a showcase here, and I turned down living there and decided to move here, which was pretty risky, but I decided to do the showcase here. My first recurring television role, which I unfortunately did a day's work on, and then the role
show was
was As the World Turns, which was on the air
As the
for
World Turns.
72 years or something like that before it was canceled. So it was just really bad luck. But it ended up not being bad luck because it's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now.
So the show gets canceled, and I'm guessing you have a moment to yourself where you're thinking.
Had a good couple years
Yeah.
of a moment. Yeah, it wasn't instant. No.
It wasn't instant.
No.
So what happened through those years?
Well, I had started taking headshots for actors when I was in college, just as a way to sort of make some money on the side and also to be able to continue to be creative and make art and be with actors. And so when I moved here, it was kind of like, I feel like the universe gives you little tidbits and you have to either just run with them or let them go.
Right.
And I was still sort of running with headshots. And I had quite a few British friends coming over to America, whether visiting or here for work, who would call me up and say, hey, I'm here for just a short period of time, and you did my headshots in the UK, or you did such and such as headshots that I know when you were in the UK. I hear you're in New York, will you do my headshots? So I said yes, and then it just sort of snowballed. You think, wow, when I wake up and I have an audition, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to put clothes on. I don't want to put my makeup on. I don't want to memorize a script. I don't want to learn that character. I don't care to be that person. And then you have the moments when you have to wake up and get out of bed to do art and make other people happy and make their careers happen and be possible. And for me, that was taking headshots, and waking up on those days was a lot easier. And it was a moment of, today I get to make something, I get to create something, I get to help somebody. And maybe it's a Virgo thing, I don't know. But it was definitely much more satisfying.
Yeah. I suspect a few people might hear this and think she's just giving up.
Yeah, that was definitely a struggle for me, because in my own head I was giving up. But in the end, you're never giving up if you're following what makes you happy. If something doesn't make you happy, then why do it? If something else makes you happier, then go and do that. You're not giving up to fulfill your life in that new area.
Well, I mean, you gave up one dream career for another dream career, because I think a lot of people want to be photographers. They want to take these photographs, and I know you mention it as art. What about it to you makes it art?
Well, every day I get to create, and I get to compose. I get to use elements of art, whether it be light or angles, rhythm, movement, balance, come into my life every single day. And then on top of that, I get to still be a part of the world of actors, and I get to use the knowledge that I gained from being an actor towards helping other actors. Specifics that I think a lot of people who jump into headshots who've never been an actor before don't know need to be there. Right. Specifics as far as what is a type and how do you fit into roles, or what are you never going to play, or what are you definitely going to play, things that directly affected how I lived my life when I was acting. I get to use those elements now, so it's like I get to paint without a paintbrush every day.
I like that.
And I know when I was acting, because of the fact that my type was so different than what my dream was to create, a lot of times I never got to create. My creations were 5 minutes long in an audition room, and then I would have to end my day. And that was extremely unfulfilling for me as somebody who's done art since I was itty bitty. It's extremely unfulfilling. And I've always done visual arts, so it was sort of an easy crossover to do photography, because it incorporates the same elements that you do in visual arts, and it allowed me to actually make tangible things happen every day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is the competition stiff?
Competition here is fierce. I mean, there's amazingly talented people here. In the acting world, your business is you, though. Am I good enough? In the photography world, is my art good enough? Is my product good enough? Is what I'm making going to withstand the changes in trends? And are other people going to be able to recognize the art that I'm making, and if it's good or if it's bad, what it is? Are they going to want to invest in it? So it's more of like a self struggle, I think, than it is a competition versus other people. I think thank goodness New York is an incredibly supportive network.